Go ahead. We're on.
Hello, Night fans. Season 3, Episode 5. Welcome to Knightspeed. I am Matt Johnson with his brother Mark Johnson.
That's right. How you doing?
Last night we played TCU in Fort Worth, Texas. Came off with a 35-34 very close win, winning actually in the last minute of the game.
Thrilling victory.
Yeah, I got to say I was very nervous pretty much the entire game. Almost gave up on the game. We had 21 down. It looked like we were going to go down possibly 4 scores. I was like, oh boy, here's scenes of Kansas last year, and
Yeah, I was. You and I were talking, watching the game, and I usually listen to Mark Daniels' radio call with the TV on.
Yeah,
and I had to literally, for the first time ever, turn off Mark Daniels. I just couldn't handle it.
Yeah,
And we're down, like you said, three touchdowns. I'm thinking we're going to get blown out tonight. I was just, beside myself with like, why does this always have to happen to us?
Yeah, and I was like, well, we're just not ready for our Big 12 season schedule here. Very big win in 2 aspects. One, it was one of the legacy Big 12 teams in TCU.
Right.
1A, they were in the national championship 2 years ago. And actually, also, it's really our first real Big 12 win on the road. I mean, you can't really count Cincinnati last year because Cincinnati was, they're an AAC team that we are, or, rose from to become in the Big 12. So this is actually, beating a Big 12 team in their stadium. That's really what kind of made it even sweeter last night.
Well, you got to remember there were some nice things that really happened, in that victory. I mean, I guess we Baylored TCU. And
Yes.
the nice thing that showed me is we were able to do what happened to us last year. That
Yes.
what we were talking about, we thought we were going to be 28-7, and then I thought it was going to be 35-7 before you knew it. Next thing you know, you start trying to figure out what's going on here, and no, we stuck with our game plan, which was we're going to run the ball, we're going to throw when we need to, but we're a running team because we have a good running game.
Yes, we do.
That was the clear difference of this game. And I watched Sonny Dykes. I watched his press conference, a little earlier today. And the one thing that he said that I thought was just great was they pounded us and beat us down. Because by the middle of the fourth quarter, we had nothing left.
Yeah.
And I love hearing it.
Was the MVP.
That's the sign of a good team right there.
Yeah.
I can sit there and because you looked at it, nothing changed. We kept running the ball and running the ball. I mean, the one time when everybody that was watching that game knew that, it was like 3rd and 2, and everybody knew in the world that Brent Harvey was getting the ball. RJ Harvey was getting the ball, and and he got stopped. And it's like, and then we punted, and I'm thinking, that's it, we're done, and it was kind of funny watching that game. We could not have had a worse game with 2 blocked field goals, 1 blocked extra point.
Yeah.
You start thinking, especially when you do that drive at the end of the first half and you come away with nothing.
0.
And it was just frustrating, and like these things were not even close. It was like you couldn't. I wanted to blame it on Colton Boomer at first, going he's back in his head again. But
yeah,
I'd say the first field goal got blocked, and that was him. It was just not high enough, and
because
there
it
was good
wasn't a bad
penetration in the
snap.
line.
I looked at the tape today. It wasn't a bad snap. He just
but it was good penetration in that line.
Yes.
Like, you guys have got to tighten up, literally. And I guess what I was seeing, and Mac Loudermilk, the old punter for UCF talking about, I want to say it was on the third, the field goal, the second field goal, the third kick, but the second field goal on the left hash, and we were lined up like we were right in the middle of the field. So you had an overload on the right, and we did nothing. And they came crashing that side. It was like, do we not know better? I mean, this is stuff we had to. You got to figure that out in fall camp.
Yeah, it was.
And So that was just disheartening at that point. So I remember at that point, I'm in the bedroom watching with my wife, and that's the one thing about watching it with my wife is she will not turn it off. We're going to watch every play, good or bad, and so I have to just sit with it. And I remember thinking when we were down, I want to say, was it 31-10 or 31-14?
Yeah, 31-13.
31-13. Yeah, because we got the extra point block. And I'm just sitting there railing about, we should have 7 more points. And if we had 7 more points, we'd be in this game. And was it, we had a drive that got us to 31-19.
Yeah.
And I remember my wife said, okay, now we're in the game. We got a game now, and then I said, if we can stop them here, because we didn't stop them at all the first half. They were the ones that stopped themselves. We never stopped them. 3rd and 10, 3rd and 16, it was just frustrating to watch, But finally, when it was 31-19 in the second half, I said, if we can stop them here, get back into this game somehow, this will turn into a game.
Yeah.
And I mean, we stopped them. They punted to us. I think they punted twice in the whole game. Didn't they?
Both teams punted 3 times in the game.
Okay. So that was one of the 3 times they punted.
There were no turnovers marking the entire game. Nobody fumbled, no interceptions.
Yeah, that's odd,
Yes.
But they punted to us. We drove the length of the field, and we had a Brent Harvey touchdown to where he broke for like 35, 30, 40 yards.
Yeah.
1 touchdown, which then brought it to 31-19, 31-20. And then you start going, okay, now we're in a game.
Yeah.
And at that point, we bring it to 31-28, and then you start going, now we're really in this.
We're in this, yes.
And you just kind of see them. They were kind of, I saw this last year at Baylor, or when Baylor came to us. It was like you start to kind of tense up, like, what do we do? What do we do?
Yeah.
We can't fix this, and it's getting out of control. And you kind of go like, how did we let this happen?
Well, if you notice, that's where, because again, they couldn't really rely on the run game. And if you notice how they had to go on a hard count with six inches until the goal line, which again, that hard count more than likely is only going to hurt you. Because again, even if we jump off sides, you're only going to get what, 3 inches? I mean, what are you really going to get out of that? But if your guy jumps, you move back 5 yards, and now it's 1st and goal on the 5.5.
That was a screw up right there.
Which happened.
Hard count where number 55 for TCU jumped, and then it's like, okay, now it's not a get, and that was 3rd down, wasn't it? 3rd and goal. So now your 3rd goal at 6 or 5.5 or whatever.
Yeah,
that was a huge play.
And you got of course, your 12th defender, which is that back line, which again, a lot of those passing routes have become that much tighter, and again, that showed really their incapability of being able to run the ball.
Right. So we hold them to 3 at that point to make it 34-28. That's when you come in like, here this is setting up perfectly for us.
And there was the crack in the door.
Right. And
there was the part in the door that left it open for us.
Yeah, it was a hell of a game, and that last drive to where, I mean, KJ Jefferson really showed that he is a cool customer. And really kind of show that he is the guy in charge.
He got better as the game went along. He got better.
Yeah, and really is the leader out there. And you got like RJ Harvey, which to me is a special back. He is to me one of the better backs in the Big 12, like it or not.
Oh, absolutely.
Ollie Gordon didn't do anything yesterday. Against Tulsa. I mean.
Well, just
Oklahoma State did what they wanted to Tulsa, but Ollie Gordon really,
When was the last game that RJ had that was a poor performance? Can you tell me? I can't.
I don't know. Kansas maybe.
Yeah.
I don't. Last year.
And that's his poor performances. Maybe he was held to like 82 yards, under 100 yards. That's about it. But you can't say that. Yeah, RJ didn't really have a good night tonight. I mean, because ever since the time we got blown out in Kansas, he has been spot on and ready to go in every game and perform without a doubt. I mean, I'm going all the way back to 2 years ago when he won the game in that moonwalk backwards into the end zone against Cincinnati.
Yeah, true. I mean, it was quite an exciting time where Kobe Hudson That's one of the nicer things that we have this year with that you have to put everybody in the box to stop our running game, that you get a lot of single coverage out on the receivers.
Yeah.
And Kobe Hudson has definitely solidified himself as number one.
Yeah. Without
I
a
guess
doubt.
number 13 for TCU. I don't have his number here, even though I said I'd have names and numbers. He got beat all night against Kobe
And
Hudson.
he was their cover corner.
Right.
And he had no answer for Kobe Hudson. He had no answer.
No, he didn't.
Kobe beat him whenever he wanted to beat him. But again, the receiver that they had, we had a hard time covering him. He was really the kind of their RJ Harvey.
Yeah. I'm trying, that number 18, Rauscher,
Yeah.
his name. He had Ken Seals, or Savion Williams is the kid who I think is the one who had all the receiving yardage. Was it?
No, it
Yeah,
wasn't him.
Jack
He did
Besh.
yes.
Jack Besh had Savion Williams was one who, what wasn't he the one, or was it one of these guys that was just as good as Besh?
Yes.
Besh was number 18. That guy was lights out.
Well, he was their Kobe. He was their really RJ Harvey, because he had more individual yards last night than RJ did. RJ had 180 yards. He had 200.
Right. Over receiving yards. RJ Harvey had over, 120, over 200 yards receiving and running.
Yeah.
He had over 180 yards rushing the ball, and what was it, 30 or 40 yards receiving? All-purpose yards was like 200 and
Yeah.
220.
He did catch one touchdown. When I guess if you count the 2-point, shuttle pass, I guess you can call that a pass.
Right.
But most of his yards came on the ground between the tackles. And if you look at it, we don't really run RJ outside. He's between the tackles. Very tough running too last night.
Yeah, he had 180 yards rushing.
Yeah, I think he just wore them down on 36 carries?
20, well, it says 29 here.
Okay, there we go. I guess he had 36 total touches.
And RJ had one reception for 29 yards. That one for a touchdown.
Yeah. And again, he was wide open. How do you lose him on a pass route is kind of a very big curiosity to me. Because I think if you're going to want to really cover anybody on a pass play, first it's probably going to be number 2, and second it's going to be number 7.
We had Kobe Hudson, 6 receptions, 145 yards. Great night, And then Randy Pittman Jr., who's really turned into a player himself, had 3 receptions, 43 yards. He had that one kind of scare there late on the last drive, which
fumble, yeah.
Yeah, and luckily, his knee was, or actually they were saying considering his ankle was down.
Yeah.
Because you look at the knee wasn't down, but the ankle rolled enough to where the ankle was down before the ball came up.
Yeah.
That's what saved the game.
It is in their huddle. I think they caught the one referee kind of came clean to the other guys and said, "Look, he's I blew the whistle."
Yeah, I blew the whistle to where.
I think when the guy went over,
I don't know what the rule is. I know in the NFL, when they blow the whistle, it's over.
It's over.
No matter what.
Well, I guarantee you, they didn't say anything on the TV last night, but I guarantee you, the guy in the playback booth saw that and said, "Yeah, he did blow the whistles. No matter what, it's over."
Yeah. Because he said confirmed. So he confirmed the call. And,
yeah, it's I mean.
I'm sure if you're a TCU fan, you're thinking it was a bad call, which I get. But.
Well, it's every bit as bad when they're on their final drive mark on their quarterback's first run when he, slid and fell down. He fumbled, and we picked it up.
Yeah.
So you'd always say, that's kind of tit for tat. You fumbled here, we picked it up. They said you were down when, it was you were jumping, going to your back, and then the ball sprung out. So they didn't look at it, but it was certainly very close, and you don't know.
Right.
So, you could say that they fumbled it. But again, last night, turnovers didn't play any part in the game because
there
were no turnovers.
There were no turnovers, which is surprising. I really don't know about penalty yards or anything like that, or
Well, penalty yards were about even. Because you think about on penalty yards, we had 5 for 45 yards. They had 4 for 40 yards.
oh, okay.
So I mean, it was just kind of a push for 5 yards. We had more, and again, you think we had 5. We had a big one in there, that 15-yarder in the second quarter, which
Well, you had the one kind of pass interference with
yeah,
number 13 for TCU, and then you had Rubel kind of tackle somebody on the line there during that play, which
which
made it
he fell backwards.
right. Yeah,
But
it is what it is. It was just a do-over. I think
yeah,
we ended up having to punt. That was the one, the second to last drive, wasn't it?
yeah.
We ended up punting on that one after that play because the other one then we didn't convert, so we punted, believing, okay, we're not getting the ball back. We're probably going to lose here, and if they
Hmm.
score on us, this is over.
Yeah. I think we're
And
three
that
now.
was the nice thing about where we've been pretty much talking offense for the most, but that's where defense really stepped up. And I know we did have some breakdowns in defense, but that's one of those kind of offenses that's gonna, spread out and really exploit. I think there when it got down to crunch time, you had guys make plays, period. Like Pace
Well,
was
yeah, Pace he
was lights out.
yes, I mean, good superlative. He was lights out last night, especially in that last drive because he got 2 tackles, one for a loss and one for like a 2-yard gain. So now it's 3rd down and 8, and they didn't convert. So they had to put it
Right.
right to us.
He had
Again, he
8
came.
solo tackles yesterday. 8
He
solo
did.
tackles.
Yeah.
Wow.
But,
Ladarius Tennyson did well, you know.
but again, we had no sacks and no tackles for a loss. We did have 2 hurries.
Again, I'm one who thinks you had, it was a lot of 3-step, 5-step drops to where you're not going to get those kind of set. I mean, this is one of those quick throws,
Mhm.
shotgun and get rid of it. Everything's kind of moving quickly, and
Yeah.
that's what you're going to, you're not going to get many sacks from that. What you're looking, they did not run the ball really at all. Where they
Well,
got
you had
30 yards total.
Rusher had 35 rushes I'm sorry, 35 yards on 11 carries. That's under a 3.5-yard rush.
So that was I think one of the keys of where we were able to get back on them is that they were always throwing the ball. So we were always stopping the clock.
Yes.
So that was able to let us get back into the game. So then when we got back into the game with us rushing the ball, that kept clock going.
Well, we were 6 seconds shy of having a 6-minute total lead in time possession. And you think about 6 minutes, that's almost half of a quarter.
Right.
And again, when you got 6 minutes up on somebody, especially when they're worn out, that's huge. Because you think about if you go to 3rd down conversions, I was really getting uptight about how they were getting all these 3rd and longs on us. And again, they were 10 for 15 all night. But another really tricky stat here is we were 11 for 60. So we were about as good. It just, all of our 3rd down non-conversions came in the first half.
First half.
In the second half, we pretty much converted every 3rd down we had.
That was a tale of 2 halves for sure.
But they were all short ones.
Right. And
yards or smaller.
First half was to show how not to play on the road in a conference game against a team that was pretty good.
Yeah.
TCU, it will determine on what they kind of finish up as, but I thought it was packed house,
Yeah.
national TV. That's what I think was just so disheartening at first, that we're going to get blown out on national TV.
That's what I thought too, and that wouldn't have been a good look.
That's never a happy, good feeling, And it was kind of a really thrilling, thing to see.
Yeah, because you look at that, you go, they had total offense, they had 402 passing yards, but they only had 58 running yards. And again, their quarterback had a few scrambles where, once he broke containment, he got, anywhere from 6 to 12 yards. But he didn't do that often. Again, he had that one first run on the last drive. They got him, I think, 12 yards. But again, you take that out, and their running back only got, again, 35 yards total. where we had 230 yards passing. But again, when rushing came around, we had 289, they had 58. So we almost outpaced their rushing by
Hoover
60.
had 402 yards passing,
Yeah, yeah.
4 TDs. No one, I mean, wow.
He had a good game.
Yeah. And
But
that
again,
showed,
they didn't rush it. They had no rushing touchdowns.
no.
And
When it
again,
down
the
to
one time
rushing,
where they probably should have tried to rush it in. I mean, let's face it, Mark. You got first and goal on the 6-inch line,
right.
and you couldn't do it.
No, you're right. You had Cam Cook had 35 yards, Dominique Johnson had 14, and so you're talking 50, 60 yards total
Yeah,
rushing.
yeah.
That's
I mean,
big. And again, like I think them passing all the time and us just pounding the ball is what really caused for them to
we're
wear
out.
down.
And
Because
let's face it,
at the end of the game, they were worn out. You could
yeah,
tell.
it was a hot game. It was in the upper 80s,
95
and it
degrees.
felt
Yeah.
like 95 degrees with the heat index. But again, our guys are used to that also, so they
Right.
didn't have the advantage there because I would think for any of these other teams, like if Iowa State comes in there, they're not going to, they're probably going to wilt to something like that. To where our guys did not, because again, we're from Florida and we're from probably a little more humidity than they have, and therefore they were able to stand up to it.
Right. Yeah. True. True. The Heat is our ally, just like many of the teams in the Texas area.
Yeah,
They deal with heat
yeah,
Saturday too. But so the heat wasn't going to really affect us as much as someone like, say,
no,
Colorado. Those guys are going to wilt on. Like Colorado comes to us in 2 weeks. I guess we'll talk about that in a second. But
that'll be tough because
they ain't
again,
used to. They're not used to the kind of heat that we got.
the heat and also the humidity.
Dion is.
Well, Dion, well, I mean, but again, he may have grown up here, Mark. But again, he hasn't been here a long time.
No, but my point is I'm sure he's aware of what it's
Yeah,
going to be.
but you can't simulate that in practice, especially when you're, 5,000 miles or 5,000 feet up.
Right. No, yeah.
There's
It's going to be a different situation, as it will be a different situation for teams like us when we have to go out to Utah, or to play Brigham Young, or
Well,
like
when we played
State,
Boise,
Arizona.
we
I
played
think are.
Boise last year, and Boise's what, about 7,000 feet up?
Oh
I
God.
mean, we seem to be okay in that one. Now I think but Utah just has a good team. But Utah comes to us this year. Now the only thing that's going to help Utah out is it's at the end of November and not now.
A night game too.
Yeah, so the heat won't get to them, but you never know. I mean, the altitude difference might not. I don't know.
And Matt, you don't know what it's. I think it'll be a little cooler, obviously, but you don't know if it's going to be muggy. We've been talking about this to where it's a different year. It's very muggy this time. Still,
Yeah,
which is different this time of year.
no, it is.
And I'm not saying it's going to be muggy like this in November, but gosh, if it is, you never know. You know, here in Florida, you get a cold streak come through, and the next thing you know, it's back in the 90s,
Yeah,
even in
yeah, and that can
even in
happen.
the winter, you know.
And again,
So,
it's going to be muggy and hot in 2 weeks for Dion when he comes to town.
well, it's going to be interesting. I thought that was going to be a night game. You've got people thinking on it could be pushed up to the noon game. I said I don't think you're going to put Colorado on at noon, especially when their fan base is out west. And they're not going to make these people watch game at 9 in the morning.
No.
Yeah, I think it's going to be another night game,
Mm-hmm.
which it'll probably make it that much better. When you have, you know, uh, a packed house there at the bounce house
Yeah,
2 Saturdays from now.
I think that's a definite.
And
I think, yeah, I think you might have a Colorado fan or two there.
I think you have quite a few.
Yes, so they're gonna.
Tickets are going for crazy money right now.
Is it really? So
Yeah,
I mean, they'll be there, but I still think it's going to be a rocking bounce house.
I believe so. I mean, the one thing, let's face it, if it were a noon kickoff, it would definitely benefit UCF. Just through
Yeah.
the humidity.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they're going to make Colorado play at noon. I think Colorado's going to play more to a 3:30 to night game, and
Yeah.
just because these teams out west, it's just easier to put on at night.
No, I
you know,
agree.
and I think it probably gets a better audience at night anyway.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess if you look at this though, it's again, you look at player stats again. KJ was 13 to 22, 230 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And again, you had RJ Harvey, who led the rushers with 29 carries, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns himself. So
I
when
had
you look at
180 yards. You got 160?
180,
Yeah, 6.21 average.
yes, 180 yards. And again, KJ was second with 9 for 46 yards. Penny Boone had 7 carries, 24 yards. Xavier
Okay.
Townsend had 4 carries. Montgomery had 3. And Richardson had. But again, when you go to receiving, Kobe Hudson, again, he's the lion's share of the receptions.
Right.
Had 3, but then again, you got 3 guys with 1. RJ Harvey had 1. Jacoby Jones had 1 catch, which was a big catch. It was a third down conversion.
Right.
In a reception. But again, we've got to get him and Xavier. Xavier had 2 catches for -2 yards.
I'm not ready to give up on Xavier, but I mean, I got to admit, I just don't see him. He hasn't stepped up as much as he should yet.
In the receiving note, no, he's doing okay rushing the ball, on his.
Yeah. I mean, he's
his,
doing fine with
sweep.
with the kickoff return and punt return and all that stuff. He's not filling in the number 2 slot. It's more Pittman than it is him.
And somebody's got to step up and take that spot. Somebody has to help out Kobe with the reception game. And again, you can't really put it on a tight end, even though he's very, Pittman's very, very athletic. We have to have another receiver out there that's going to give KJ an option to throw to.
No, I agree. And, I'm just not saying that Xavier can't, but he just really hasn't filled that role yet.
Yeah. But it's but again, if you look at the team stats for TCU, I'm sorry, their player stats. Again, Hoover had 4 touchdowns, 402 yards. He threw the ball 52 times.
Right. Well, that's a typical air raid kind of.
52 times they threw the ball.
Right?
They had what, 66 plays?
Yeah, Bryles, the offensive coordinator there. Our Bryles' son. Kendall Bryles, I think his name.
Mm-hmm.
He's an air raid, just like Josh Heupel, just like,
Yeah, so they had 68 plays, 52 of them were passes.
Right.
So again, you got to think about that. Are you really going to get a strong running back to want to go to that school? If you're running back,
you're right. You're gonna have great receivers and guys who like to throw the ball. I mean, total plays that were. Is this correct? What I'm seeing, there was 146 plays.
Yeah,
total. We had 70. They had 70.
I think 6, 8 plays more than they did.
Wow. Yeah.
And that Bash, whatever his name is, he had 9 receptions for 200 yards.
And when it comes down to it, we had a better percentage on third downs than they did. 2%.
Yeah.
60. I mean, that first half, Matt, was god awful.
For us,
they were perfect first half.
Yeah, we missed pretty much all of our third down conversions in the first half. We were, I think, 2 of 6.
Some of these stats, like the field goals, 0 for 2. They went 2 for 3. The one they missed was the most important one, was 58 yarders.
Yeah, but, no gimme.
No, not especially with a true freshman.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not a gimme. But you just look at some of these intangibles, and you really kind of. We're lucky that we came off, winning this game.
Yeah. Well, I guess what it came down to is time of possession. Again, when you got almost 6 minutes more, you're going to have, and again, if you think about it, we had 8 plays more than they did. Right. And again, we ran the ball successfully, and that's your difference of the game. That's your point difference. And again, if you think about it, Mark, if we score those 2 field goals, let's say we score one of them, and we also make our extra point. I'm going to say if we make the extra point, let's face it, you know as well as I do, Mark, we don't go for the 2-point conversion.
Right.
So let's say we're all that. Now it's 38-34, and they have to get in the end zone.
No, you're right.
That's with missing the one field goal that's over 40 yards. We get the one field goal that's really kind of on the doorstep, which you usually get all the time anyway. We just muffed it. Then It's really a mute issue. Then we really beat them worse than it looked.
I mean,
Because
that's something. Luckily,
now
we have
they're trying to get
with
into
the
me.
off week.
What's that?
You know, with the off week, we're going to have to get that straightened out. Period.
Yeah,
It's one of
and
those
I think
things.
they can. I think they will.
I would say the tight ends coach is also the special teams coach. You know,
Yeah,
so I have a feeling. Obviously, with it being, I think KJ got a little beat up in the game, so he's going to probably rest up for the whole week. He's not a guy that you need to sit there and. Although he says he likes to kind of get the receivers together and throw passes.
which he should.
Yeah, but I think he got a little banged up in the game, and luckily we get two off weeks this season.
Yeah, we think Pittman. He got hit early. In the back there on a sideline route in the
Right.
first half. That right there is he's probably feeling that today. That's that doesn't feel good.
19-year-old kid, maybe not.
Well, and he's what, 19 years old, so
Yeah,
maybe
19, 20-year-old kid, maybe not.
Yeah,
And I'm sure he's getting treatment for it if he got tightened up on that.
but let's face it, RJ with 29 carries, he's a little sore today.
Yeah, him and even Kobe, but that last touchdown he got, which I thought was to me it's kind of a weird rule to where you can still launch at somebody, you just need to hit him with your shoulder or with your arm.
And that's what it was, because he didn't hit him with his helmet. So
Right.
and then when I saw
Still, when you run in more than 5 steps and you're able to launch at somebody at that kind of speed, it doesn't matter if you hit him or not. It's still a car wreck.
Yeah,
It should still be illegal.
But again, as a purist with the game of football, you have to have somebody who
I hear that all the time about
to dislodge the ball from a receiver. You can't let him catch it.
No, I got you, but you can always block it away, or you should not be coached or be able to sit there and play to injure people.
Yeah, again, I don't think he was looking to injure the guy in heart of hearts. I think, again, if he was looking to injure him, I think he would win with his head. I think what he was looking for was just, again, dislodge the ball from his reception.
Well, again, these guys are taught that that's a safe hit, and still, when you're launching at somebody that fast, it's still a car wreck.
Yeah.
It's still this guy. I mean, you saw how he hit. He got shaken up.
Oh yeah.
To where, I mean, we'll never find out if he got a concussion from that or not.
That was a big hit.
But that was one of those things.
No question about it. He took a big hit.
Yeah, we kind of need to, guard against that. But it's just not going to happen.
No.
Unfortunately, these guys are going to be subject to certain dangers, and that's just one of them.
Yeah. Well, there was no
the helmet or the crown of the helmet.
15-yard penalty, correct?
Yeah, but
why he kicked it out of the end zone? Because he kicked it almost in the first row of the stands.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
Yeah. I mean, he kicked it way out. And I think that was kind of what helped.
So okay, yeah, I wasn't aware of that. Gotcha. But
I mean, I don't think the kid, again, I don't think it was malicious. That's why I said I don't think he needs to be kicked out of the game.
No, okay. I mean, teach his own. I'm just one who doesn't like to see that. I don't like these young men when they become old men are living under bridges and crap like that because of the head injuries that they get throughout their life, their young life in these games. Like you got Tua, getting ready to retire after having 4 massive, head injuries, concussions. That's
that's a I mean, that situation also is he should have slid and he didn't. And again, I also think, I mean, you can also argue, there's a lot of things you do a whole podcast on this alone. I think the equipment they're using nowadays is not as safe as the stuff we used when we were growing, because it's lighter to make them go faster. And again, I don't think it takes the same shock absorb as the older stuff that we used 20, 30 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, 40 years
water
ago.
Helmets, things like that. You said Zonka had a water helmet?
Zonka had a water helmet. And I had a helmet like that.
Was 9 pounds,
in
10
high school. Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. And I just don't think that it's and again, half these guys aren't even wearing knee pads. They have their pants are above their knees, above their kneecaps.
Right.
When we played, they would have kicked you off the field. So you can't, you're not equipped. You could tell they probably don't wear any kind of hip or tailbone protection.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
mean, so
mean, it's
their
true. I'm
shoulder
just talking
pads
about head
are falling
injuries.
light.
I'm talking about head injuries and things like
Yeah,
that.
and I'll
There's a
go there
lot of
too.
head
I
injuries
don't
that
think a lot of these helmets are as well made or as sturdily made as the helmets that were made 30 years ago. I just don't think that.
gotcha. Well, okay. You know,
Especially if you're going faster because you're wearing less equipment yourself anyway.
right, right. Okay, let's final comments on the game. Move over to Colorado. Um,
Colorado, well, I could say
big win.
RJ Harvey. I mean, we didn't really do any defense. I won't say who was your defensive star of the game last night.
I wouldn't. I mean, it'd have to be Deshaun Pace.
Deshaun Pace. That's what I would say. Yeah, him
Guy had
also.
11 solo tackles. You know, he led the team with tackles. I mean, and on that last drive that they had, Matt, that that they were trying to run clock and they went 3 and out. Pace was
Yeah,
on two of those plays. Two of
yeah,
those plays were one of the plays he tackled the guy out of bounds to stop the clock, which was a
yeah.
big, you know,
And you really
and
can say because you look at Arnold and you look at Tennyson, who both are the second leaders on the tackle sheet, but those guys
Tennessee,
are tackling people downfield though
right.
on pass reception. So you really can't say that because they're tackling somebody after you caught the ball.
But one of those things that I would say the first half we were not able to defend was all these slant routes that they kept doing to us, and we
They're
just
murdering us. Yeah,
we could not. And then all of a sudden, second half, we were able to cut down the slant routes. So then they had to kind of either go over the middle or stay outside with and that really helped with defense. But the slant routes in the first half was just killing us.
no, with it reminded me kind of like the Boise State game of 2021. That first
Right.
half, to where they would get if they had a third down and 11, no problem. They'd find an open receiver. He'd go for 14, 16, move the chains. And again, if you remember that one, we also got down by 2, 3 touchdowns in that one.
You were down by 21. Yeah, I mean Andy Avalos, the coach at the time for Boise State, is now the DC for TCU.
That's very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Well, if you look at
tomorrow,
we've had a couple of games. Like remember, we've been down 21. I mean, you look at the Louisville game in 2013.
yeah.
We were down 28-7, and again we got 21 points in one quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, that's I guess you just don't count those nights out, huh?
I wouldn't. It was a great win.
Yeah,
Well, and that really kind of one thing, Coach Malzahn said, being interviewed at the end of the game, he goes, "This win is going to take us a long way." Because
yeah.
what this does is this shows your team you're never out of it. You're
Mm-hmm.
never out of it. No matter what, you're not out of it as long as you keep fighting.
And I will
And,
admit, I thought there were plenty of times that we were out of it. I thought we were out of this game.
right. But
We're on the cusp of getting blown out here.
the thing is he said we haven't even shown ourselves yet, and I'm like, okay, like he's like we really haven't even given away who we are yet. And he said the one thing that let's face it, years past, Matt, we would have ditched the run, 21 points down, all we done is throw the ball, and that was one thing that was kind of
And
that
that would
showed
play in their
Gus
hands.
knows what he's doing. That no, we stuck with our game plan. Keep running the ball. Throw when we have to, when we can. When you got the one-on-one on the outside, we'll throw it then. But other than that, let's control that line of scrimmage and pound the rock. And
Well, we threw very well last night. So you got to think about it too, man. Our first and last touchdowns were touchdown passes.
right.
And again, both of them were 20 yards plus.
But I think it would have shown desperation if we were just abandoned the run when we were 21 points down. Said we can't do the same one. We got to start throwing the ball. I
mean,
and I think it would have turned into kind of a real garbage show if we had switched. And I think that was the one kind of where you have, I think, Coach Malzahn shows that he's got the coaching acumen to coach at a high level. And he does. I mean,
no, it
I'll
was
say that we'll lose to Colorado next in 2 weeks, but he got it done. He and a lot of the players, that he architected that win, and he architected this team. You know,
Yeah, you get a shootout like we did, say Memphis and I don't know, was that Dylan's freshman year? We lost 50
yeah,
to 49.
and he
And
has
again, that's what
600
happened.
yards, over 600 yards throwing. Remember
Yeah,
that? I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
We didn't do any kind of running the ball. It was all long passes, and we still lost that one. So again, I never like to really get into shootouts with anybody because it
right.
was like we end up on the wrong side of the stick. But if we do get into a rushing versus throwing matchup, and even if we get down, we still because again, you remember Louisville had Teddy Bridgeport with him.
Yeah,
He was a quarterback.
no, yeah, and we ran the ball against. If you
Yeah,
remember that, we ran the ball effectively
yeah,
in
absolutely.
that Louisville game back in 13 or whatever, whenever it was.
And really, what brought us back in the Boise State game was Bowser. Bowser ran the ball effectively.
We got to run the ball. You got to be able to run the ball. And I
Yeah,
think what you saw with TCU last night is that they were not able to run the ball when it got down to it, and it cost them.
and that's what really was. That's the difference of the game.
They were not able to run clock.
No, and since they couldn't run the clock, but again, what you're doing is you're actually running the you know first down, and it's you're inside the 5 yard line, and you're looking for your short passing routes, and that's what they did.
Right.
And again, they get a penalty. They had to flinch. They get 3 points, left the door open for us. We capitalized. We score a touchdown in the last minute of the game and beat
30
them.
something seconds left in the game. It was, I mean, just
Yeah,
nice where
37 seconds,
they made it interesting. How many timeouts? They have two timeouts or just one?
2 timeouts.
And they got to our 40, and then they
Yeah.
went for the kind of on 7 seconds left. They went for that little out pass on the right that
Well, what I
it's just
didn't
bad
get,
pass,
I
bad.
didn't
It was
get-
only going to go to the 37, so it would have
yeah,
been a 55-yard kick rather than a 58.
yeah, and
If-
he still would have probably missed it
Right.
because he was wide right badly. But
He
what I
was.
didn't get is how they didn't do a slant pattern because we were kind of giving that to him anyway. I don't know why he didn't do like a 12 yard slant pattern, and then as soon as he gets there, gets a timeout, 1 second left, and then they've got like a 39 to 42 yard field goal.
That only happens to the Gators, man, if they're playing Mizzou, not us.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, I mean, the Gators last year, I think they lost the game with Mizzou being able to just go down and literally kick a chip shot there at the end because the defense was so bad to her.
What got them last year also is they gave up a 4th and 20.
Yes, yes.
I mean,
And
that
our
right there
defense
alone means you should
showed
lose.
its strain, but it was nothing like that.
Yeah, that was
Like
rough.
I said, we were a lot better the second half than the first half. And it it gives you a little confidence when you leave Fort Worth last night, knowing that okay, we came down, we got down 21 points, and we were able to still come back and win. And got down 21 points and missed 2 field goals and an extra point and still won.
Yes.
I mean, that was just, you really look at this and go, that this was quite a game
No, we could have won it pretty easily.
to
We're
be happy
saying,
about.
yeah, 30, 40 to 34.
Gotcha.
You think about if everything had scored
Okay.
41,
How about we go ahead and move over to the Colorado game real quick? Talk.
Okay. I don't really
We
know
can talk
much about Colorado
weekends.
considering I've not studied any of Colorado's games. I know they have Coach Prime coaching them. A very gray bearded Coach Prime now. I saw that
Right.
in the game last night, and I was thinking, wow.
Well, they got Shadur Sanders, which is obviously he's a very fine quarterback to where he's mobile, he's very accurate, and he's a playmaker. He's one of those guys that to have a chance with him, you're going to have to keep him in the box. You cannot let him roll out anywhere.
Yeah.
He's that's going to make you. Jimmy Horn, which we know who he is, receiver.
Is he his one receiver?
He's one of the receivers for sure. He's a fine player.
Oh yeah.
And then you got Fisher, or not? What's the guy's name? Not Fisher. Travis
Hunter.
Hunter. I don't know why I said Fisher, but nonetheless, you got Travis
Fisher.
Hunter, which is a two-way player.
Yeah.
And he's a lot of times he's one of the best players out on the field.
Yeah.
And he plays both ways. The one thing Colorado has against them that I think everybody knows is their offensive line is awful and their defensive line is awful. So as
which
long as we can,
that's big.
right, as long as I think on offense, if we can make sure that we don't do dumb penalties and turn the ball over, we should be able to score just running the ball.
Hmm.
Defense, Shadur Sanders is another, like he's a better he's the best quarterback we will have seen this year so far. Out of all the quarterbacks we've seen, he will be the best one.
Even better than last night's, huh?
Yes, Shadur Sanders is a legitimate quarterback, and he is one who is going to make plays if we give him time. So the one thing you saw with I think Nebraska 2 weekends ago, Nebraska was able to get a rush on him,
Yeah,
4 or 5 guys every time, and kept him closed in.
yeah,
Let him get outside; he's going to kill you. He can run the ball or he can throw it. He can throw a dart. He can throw it very accurately. And
yeah,
so long as we can contain him, keep him inside, and shut down his like. If we can, if we can rush 4 to 5 guys and get a rush on him and drop everybody else back,
yeah,
shouldn't be hard. Or my point is, we should come out winning this game. If he's one who's able to extend plays and things like that, it's gonna be a long night.
yeah.
You know. Good
Well,
thing
they
is we have a full week, full 2 weeks to heal up and
prepare for him.
prepare for him.
Yeah, they probably watch some film today. Probably gonna get tomorrow and maybe Monday off. Heck, maybe even a Tuesday. I'm sorry, Monday to probably into Wednesday before they really start preparing for
Right.
the Colorado game. And again, you know
Yeah.
what they've got. It's not really. I don't see them being a bigger challenge, especially than TCU, even at home. Again, because I
Right.
think with what you were saying about with Hunter and of course Dion's son, we still have our weapons. Are they going to be able to stop our? They're going to stop RJ Hart.
No, I know. Well, we should be able to run the ball against them. Should. Not saying we will, but their defensive line has not shown much promise,
Yeah,
but that doesn't really show that they don't have a spectacular game again. I mean, I think it's going to be an electric atmosphere. I think it'll be at night. We'll find out, I think, next Monday when the game is, or maybe we'll find out tomorrow. I don't know.
yeah.
It is a
I
Fox
guess
game.
Jimmy Horn is finally a senior.
What's that?
Jimmy Horn is a senior. He's got to be.
Yeah. He's done after the season. The good thing about this game is we won yesterday, and so did Colorado.
Yeah.
We're not playing until we play Colorado, and I don't know who Colorado's playing this week. I think they have a game this weekend, but it should be, I don't know if we got any votes for top 25 this week. We got
Yeah.
one last week, but I'm not sure if we got any this week.
But I still don't think we're in the top 25.
No, we're not in top 25, at least not AP.
Yeah.
ESPN, I think power rankings, we're in the top 20 power rankings wise.
Yeah.
What I mean by that, we're one of the better running schools out there.
Yeah.
I think we're leading or top 5 of rushing schools. So, when you run the ball, things
And we do have a very good running back room, so I can see that.
yeah. But it should be interesting to see how we do. Which the prediction I chose TCU to win by 3. You
I think I
chose
did.
UCF
Did
to
I?
win by 3, right?
Yeah.
Or within 3. It was within 3. I figured we'd lose no more than by 3, and I think you were more or less.
I said 31-27 now, and again, I was correct until pretty much the last drive.
Okay. And
But I mean, I'm glad I was wrong on the prediction.
no, I think you had UCF winning, didn't you?
No, I did not. I had TCU winning also.
Gotcha. Okay, because I had TCU winning by 3 or less, within 3 points.
Yeah.
And
What's your
UCF
prediction this week?
UCF beat the spread and everything. So I think they were 2-point underdogs. So it was a nice little payday for some UCF fans if they voted or if they bet.
If they put a bet down.
Right. And
what's your score this week?
I think it's going to be probably a higher scoring game. I'm thinking more of a probably 45-31, maybe. And I think we're just going to run the ball up and down the field on them.
Yeah, I think we'll beat them easier than
We're going
last
to
week.
control clock on them. We're going to be able to do that. But I think that Shadur Sanders is going to really be able to exploit things in our defense, just with his elusiveness, his accuracy, and overall, he's a good quarterback.
Well, what you can say about last night was both teams didn't have any real mistakes with no turnovers.
Right.
And what
That's
it
what
came
we're
to
going
is,
to have to make sure we do not do.
yeah,
Is help them out by turning the ball over, fumbling, or throwing interceptions.
yes. And I think if we don't turn the ball over, we'll beat them 38-24.
It's good. Okay, good score there. You
I mean,
want
which
quick?
again, not even close. It's not even a close game.
Yeah, I think that's a great score because that will then in turn tell us because then we got the Gators the following week up in Gainesville.
Yeah.
Napier is on death watch. Like he is. Yeah, he's on a.
It's a hot seat.
Or you've got half the Gator conglomerate want to fire him now and
Yeah.
pay that huge buyout, which is like $35 million to him.
Yeah. I was talking to a Gator fan today when I was at the exercise facility, and he was telling me it was 28 million.
Well,
And then guess who he said their odds-on favorite to replace him is?
Urban Meyer. Did I hear
Well,
that?
I saw that in a news article. He didn't say Urban Meyer. He said, and get this, a matured Lane Kiffin. So as far as I know, I think Lane Kiffin
Lane Kiffin has a job.
yeah.
You
So,
know,
but at the end of the season, we'll buy out this contract. Oh, that's low. How much is that one going to be?
and how much is that going to be?
Yeah.
It's like you guys are just throwing money at just dead money here.
Yeah. And
And
it's like,
God, you better hope Lane Kiffin works out.
yeah. And it's like, well, this,
And I'm not saying he's not a good coach. He's definitely a good offensive coach.
yeah.
But the problem with Lane Kiffin is it's like you owe this guy 28 to 35 million. We're still not sure what that is. And then you get to pay Lane Kiffin that much at least. And then a lot of people who probably want to bring with him. So this is going to end up costing you 80, $90 million.
Yeah.
Said and done.
Yeah. It's like,
You have that kind of money?
no. No.
I mean,
No, they do not.
no,
And
I mean, and they probably do, which is so sad. But it's like, who's paying that? I mean, that's a lot of money to be just in debt. Like I said, Lane Kiffin has to basically bring you back from the depths to, and let's face it, he has made Ole Miss. And if you're Ole Miss, why would you sit there and throw money at him too?
no, I agree because you
As
come
much
from the
as you
same
could,
conference.
because you already got to go in there.
Yeah.
He's top five.
If I was the Gators, I just take your medicine now and hope this guy gets better.
Napier's problem, and you and I have talked about his offensive and defensive lines are supposedly talented kids, but they're just not getting it done.
No.
They're not getting it done. And it is the SEC, so it is a tough schedule, but they're getting beat up front on both sides. Period.
Well, it doesn't seem like they have a mean streak in them.
No, they're just not. They haven't quit.
No.
To me, I'm hoping by the time we get to Florida that they quit. Yeah, that they lose so bad next week they go, screw it, and just quit.
Which could happen. Could very easily happen.
Yeah, it could. And then, like I said, if you fire Napier before we get in there, they may quit.
Yeah.
Knowing that, okay, I'm leaving. I can't leave now, but I'll be leaving by the end of the season.
Yeah.
And some of these kids, because it's going to be a new coach. I mean, I don't think the old ball coach is coming back just to, I don't think he wants anything to do with us.
No.
And so you're probably getting an assistant to end the season with, and it's going to be brutal.
Yeah.
It's going to be a brutal season for them. Just like, we'll go, 4 hours from here, Florida State is going through a nightmare.
Well, they're even worse.
Yeah. I mean, they're 0-3 for the first time since, I want to say 1955.
76, I think.
76, okay.
Yeah. Bowden's first year, they were 0-3.
I think it's been 55 since both teams had losing records.
Yeah, this early in the season.
Yeah. And that's
Dwight D. Eisenhower's administration.
Yeah. It's a long time ago. And I guess, to Miami, I think they played another soft cupcake.
Ball
yesterday.
State.
Okay, so
Their schedule is filled with cupcakes. Now that you even say Florida State is as bad as they are, they're going to run through them because it's at Miami. And trust me, Miami's going to want to skunk them.
yeah, they will, and they probably will.
Yeah, for what happened
Florida
2 years
State's
ago
ready
down
to
in
win.
Miami, they're looking probably to beat them 70-0. Because
I mean,
didn't
Florida
Florida
State,
embarrass them 2 years ago down in Miami?
Florida State's down by 11, and the guy's going for 2.
Yeah,
And like, why are you doing that? Just sit there and kick the field goal, the extra point, and be down by 10,
yeah.
not 11. And
I hate when coaches go for 2. I would go as a coach. I go for 2 when I have to. And again, if it's third quarter and you're down 2 or multiple scores, don't go for 2.
right, no,
Time
you're right.
and time, come back and bite the team. Again, what I consider the best team in the last 25 years, the 2000 Miami Hurricanes, it beat them in Washington. Butch Davis went for 2 2-point conversions, didn't get it. And when the end of the game came around, they were in field goal range to go into possibly into overtime, but he was down by 5 and had to go for a touchdown where Santana Mouse just missed it with his foot just barely being out of it. But again, you could make a chip shot field goal and take it in overtime, which they had all the momentum.
Right. No, you're right.
Look at Florida 2 years against Tennessee. They went for a 2-point conversion, didn't get it, but then got the onside kick and were down 4 as opposed to 3. And again, had they gone for, they could have got down and taken it overtime.
You know,
Do not go for a 2-point conversion.
yeah, to me, you only go for the 2-point conversion, Matt, when you have to. Meaning, we are going to lose the game unless we get a 2-point conversion. Obviously, go for it. Other than that, just go for the easy points whenever you can get them.
Well, how many 2-point conversions do you really have? You know, how many 2-point conversion plays do you have?
1, maybe 2.
1, maybe 2. And that was, I mean, you look at when Miami lost to Notre Dame back in '87. Notre Dame knew the play they were going to do because, again, they saw them do it twice against Michigan 3 weeks earlier.
Okay. And Miami did make that play, but yeah, that's old. Yeah.
Well, the 2-point conversion they didn't.
Oh, I thought.
No, the 2-point conversion they did make it. And again, because Notre Dame, what they were doing.
Gary, where they said he fumbled and he didn't fumble, and then they said,
over
on downs. Remember that controversy? But yeah,
Miami won that game.
We're dating ourselves, I think.
The 2002 national championship against that was no pass interference either. But
right,
that's a different program, different time.
Okay. Well,
I got all I've got to say.
Okay, you want to go ahead and wrap this up?
Let's wrap this up. So, with Knightspeed, I am Matt Johnson. Oh, real quick, if you guys have any comments or any thing you'd like to share with us, please leave a message.
Yeah, comment section is open. Yeah, it is open. So
yeah, we'd love to hear from you if you have a comment.
It'd be great.
So I am Matt Johnson with Knightspeed.
And I'm Mark Johnson. Until next week.
Goodbye, everybody, and have a good night.
We'll see y'all later.